Yeah.
Kindly, sir.
Thank you,
Now.
thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everybody, my dear friends. I am Dr. Sadananda Nayak, now heading the Department of History, Dharampur University, Odisha, India. Generally, I have 21 years of teaching experience in different universities. Earlier, I was working in Degree College, then Sambalpur University. Then now I am working in Dharampur University. Dear friends, I am going to share my ideas and views and thoughts about research and methodology in history. Now, you know, in historical research methods, something different from the research in social sciences, because the mode of operation, the mode of research activities, scheme and plan is something different from social sciences. Historical research methodology is something different from social science research methodology. Dear friends, now we know history, that is the study of past events. So records is known as a historical. The history research, basically, we are referring the past events, past work, studying the available resource materials relating to the past. Now you see, the study which we are doing again and again in various aspects of the same theme is called research, because research is a process which has no ending point. So in different aspects, there is a gap, there is a need of work. So the student of history, the scholar of history is doing research again and again. That's why this is research. Dear friends, now you see the adapting of certain process to examine available records. In research, what we are doing? In historical research and methodology, we are examining the records, available records, and we are searching the records. Clear? We are searching the records and examining the records, how far that records were and are speaking truth. Then you see, historical method is having different process for research among the social sciences. What I have spoken you. You see, in historical research, the main objective or purpose of research in history basically comes in 3 points. One is adding the new data in historical studies. The objective or main aim of the research and historical study deals 3 points. One is adding the new data. Second is the interpretation of non-data. Third is theorizing the data. These are the 3 important objectives, 3 important goals in historical research work. And for this purpose, the historical research is being done. There may be different objective, but this is the basic and important objective in historical research work. So we are going to adding the new data, and the data which we know we are interpreting, and after getting so many inputs, we are theorizing the past events. This is the thing that the historical research speaks to us. Now please the second slide. Hello. Okay, thank you. Now see, in historical method generally, we have 4 stages or 4 phases of research work. 4 phases of research work. This is the level of work. While a scholar is doing research, a student is doing research, a researcher is doing research, he or she has to go thoroughly these phases of research level of work. The first is preliminary operation or preliminary work, preliminary skill or process of the research work, preliminary. Then second is analytical operation. Then third is synthetic operation. Then fourth is concluding operation. because the entire research work comprises within these 4 phases of operations or process of research work. These are preliminary operation or preliminary research work. Second level is analytical research work or analytical operation. Then third is synthetic process of research work or synthesis of the research work or synthetic operations. Then the fourth is concluding operation or finding of the work. Now see, what are the operations? These 4 operations speaks, because these 4 operations are important phases of historical research work. Unless going thoroughly through these 4 stages of research work in historical research, we can reach the scientific or authentic conclusion. So, my dear friends, now come to the next 4th slide. The 4th slide speaks the preliminary operations. What is that preliminary operations? The preliminary operations or preliminary research work based on a researcher's observation on the past event. He or she has to observe whether the event has been occurred or not, where the event has occurred, when the event has occurred. These things a scholar has to observe before going to make a concrete plan. A scholar has to make observation about the past. Then to authenticate the observation, a scholar has to consult the available literature. Unless until going thoroughly the literature, we can authenticate our observations. So we have to collect, we have to study, we have to consult tidbit available literature to authenticate our observations. Unless consulting available literature, we may not reach to conclude our observations as a authentic observation or a final work. Then, after consulting available literature with matching our observation, we can see the research gap. Finding of research gap is very, very important in preliminary operation or primary research work. One has to find out the research problem or research gap while he will start his research or her research. So in preliminary work, a scholar has to observe the things. To authenticate observation, he has to consult the literature. After consulting literature, he will reach in the real research gap. He will find the research gap or research problem. After getting the research problem, in historical research, gap or problem means that is the area, that is the research field where no research has been taken place. This is the research problem or research gap. Research problem or research gap means in those area no scholar has done. This area is a virgin area, unexplored area, undiscovered area, remain as a virgin. This is research gap. And a scholar has to find out this research gap after consulting literature with matching the observations. Then after getting the research gap, a scholar have to select the research area or finalize the research area. Whether he will go for political history, social history, economic history, religion history, science, technology history, or any more, because the research gap, it is a field, it is an area one can go for research in any directions. So after getting gap, a scholar has to select the research area, choose the micro area. Then after getting the research area, a scholar has to finalize the research proposal, finalize the research topic, research work. Dear friends, here a scholar have to choose the topic or area or research proposal in such a way that should be pleasant to audible, sweet to hear, sweet to speak. So the title or proposal must be short and sweet, because anybody who can hear this title or research proposal, there must be anxiety, anxiousness. So in that way, a scholar has to finalize the research work, the research proposal, research thing. So this is the preliminary operations. In this preliminary stage, in initial stage, a research scholar have to do these things from observation to finalizing the topic. This is what the historical research methodology speaks. Different historical uh, scholars, different scholars, those who have written research methodology, they have given their views. Unless the preliminary work, we can progress the second level of work. If the preliminary work is fine, scientifically approved, authenticate, then the second level or third level or fourth level work will be nice and basing on scientific. So different. Now see, this is the preliminary operations in historical research methods. First of all, we have to observe the things, the past things. Then to authenticate the observations, we have to consult the literature, available literature. Then finding the research gap. That is the research problem, because we are going to solve the research gap. Research problem means, here the gap or problem means the area where no work has been done, no explorations, no research, no work till today has not been done. So that is remained as a problem, that is remained as a gap. So to finalize our research gap, we have to select the research area, on which direction we have to carry out our research work. Then the next level, that is the highest important level of work, that is the second operations. Preliminary operation is the first operation, then second is the analytical operation. After finalizing research proposal, research work, topic, research gap, a scholar has to move second level of work. So when a scholar is going to move the second level of research work, that is analytical operation, a scholar should or must analyze the different directions of his or her research area. To fulfill that work, he or she has to chalk out the plan properly. Unless until proper planning, proper action plan, work plan, sometimes we are talking research design, research work plan, when, where, how we will work. This plan should be chalked out before starting the second level of work, research work in historical research methodology or historical research work, that is analytical operations. In these operations, the most important thing is the collection of data. Collection of data is very, very important, because the historians, the student of history researchers, they can't speak beyond of data. What data speaks, a student of history, a researcher of history can speak as much what the data is speaking. We can't speak much more things beyond of data, what data is speaking. So data collection is very, very important, because unless data, without data, we can't see the back. We are writing history of the past people, past time, past society. Whatever the things we are writing, we are going to write, means we are writing the past things. So on the basis of data, we are going to talk, we are going to write. So data is very, very important. And for this data collection, different historians, different researchers, even social scientists, they have prescribed the use of modern tools. Now see, this is what laptop, Android mobile, cameras, recording, video recordings, everything. Now you see using the WhatsApp, social groups, different softwares, we can use that to collect. So a student of history, a student of history must visit different libraries, because on the basis of proposal, on the basis of research design, he has to plan when, where, how he will go to different libraries, different museums, different archives to collect source materials. So a scholar have to visit different libraries, museums, archives to collect data as per his or her proposal. And he has or she has to make plan where, in which libraries, in which museums or archives the study materials or the materials related to his or her proposal is available. Accordingly, he or she has to visit the museums, libraries, and archives for collection of data. Besides this, another is interview method. The interview method is structured and unstructured. When we are going to take interview with some of the personalities, with well planned, with well structured, having questions, then that is structured method. If randomly we are going to meet and randomly we are questioning different questions to whom we are taking interview, and that is unstructured methods. The next is questionnaire method. That is also structured and unstructured method for collection of data. Questionnaire means previously if you have prepared questions, having all the question sets, you are going to meet the people, having sample size, you are giving your question sets and getting the answers. That is structured. All of a sudden you are going and putting some questions, getting answers. That is unstructured. This is what the different ways, different process to collection of the data. Because in this stage, in analytical operation, it is very, very important to collect data. Then after collection of data, a scholar have to classify all collected data into important and non-important, because while a scholar is collecting data, he or she has to collect data randomly. Which is important, which is not important, that is not matter, because there is a time constant, there is a financial constant, there is other constants are there. So while a scholar is collecting data by visiting different libraries, archives, museums, we are collecting data randomly. But after getting all data in the table, we have to classify it into two important divisions. That is important data means those data are directly connected to your work, and the data which are not directly connected to your work. In this way, you have to classify these collected data into important and non-important. Again, you have to classify this important data into primary data and secondary data as primary data and secondary data. And you all know, my friends, primary means the first-hand data. The secondary means those data are compiled taking the support of primary data, that is secondary data. So after classification data into important and non-important, again classification of the important data into primary and secondary data. Again, we have to classify this primary and secondary data as per our research proposal or as per our chapterization. We have to classify. Unless until classification of division of as per research proposal, it will be difficult while we will start compilation of our research work. It will take more time. It will create more confusion. More confusion means more tension. So we have to classify the primary and secondary data as per research proposal or as per our chapterization. Then after this, the most important work will be started. The most important work will be started after finalization of your data into as per your research proposal. That is filtering of data. We can't use all data in our work. We can't use, because